We discussed in the first video how important it is to hone your writing skills in the sciences. Many opportunities can depend on how well you are able to write about your work and ideas, and how effectively you can communicate complex and field-specific material to a more general audience. Though it is likely that the majority of readers will have a basic understanding of your subject and an existing interest in your work, you must ensure that they know why your research is important, what specific contributions you are making to the field, and how your research fits into the field as a whole. That is why having a comprehensive and informative introduction is so important. The introduction generally explains the research question, what you are attempting to answer with the experiment, includes a hypothesis, gives a justification for the experiment, why it's important to study this problem, and provides relevant background information that may be needed to understand the experiment and its outcomes. When writing the introduction, recall the hourglass shape from the first video. The introduction is like the funnel portion of the hourglass. Provide a brief overview of the available knowledge on the subject. This section should begin broadly by giving some general information about the topic you are researching. Contextualize your experiment by providing information about its relevance in the broader field of research. It is good practice to include information from lecture or course materials to provide context for the experiment. If relevant, you may consider providing and briefly explaining foundational equations here so that you may refer to them later on in the paper. Remember to cite in text and create a reference page entry for any material you use that is not your own. Once you have provided a broader context for your topic, narrow it down to the specific problem you are trying to address through experimentation. When designing your own study, you should identify missing areas of research, a gap that your study helps to fill. This is called the research gap. Lab experiments designed by someone else, like a professor, similarly seek to identify and address a research gap. In both cases, there exists a research question that the study is designed to answer, like, what is the effect of substance A on item B? We'll discuss more about how to establish and write a research question in the pre-writing video. For now, just identify the research gap, then describe the design of the study and how it will fill the gap you identified. Then, clearly state the overall purpose of the study and what will be tested. This leads us into the final component of the introduction. Your introduction should end with a discussion about your specific objectives for research, including a research hypothesis. A hypothesis is a stated answer to your proposed research question. It includes a prediction regarding the outcomes of the experiment and substantiates that prediction by establishing a cause for that particular outcome. Developing a hypothesis is perhaps the most important part of research design, and you should write your hypothesis before you conduct any research. Hypotheses are used to plan the design of the research and specify which variables, metrics, or relationships are being studied. We'll discuss more about how to write an effective hypothesis in our pre-writing video. When you are deciding how much information to provide, you should assume that your reader has some basic knowledge in the area of study that would lead them to seek out your report. But do not assume that they know everything about the particular topic you are studying. A good introduction provides definitions and explanations for anything that may not be common knowledge for someone in your field. In order to make your work accessible to a larger audience, define any terminology or acronyms that are specific to your study. For now, let's take a look at some examples. These examples are a bit long, so feel free to take the time to pause the video and read the examples thoroughly. As you read through the examples, recall the tips we discussed earlier in the video. Did the student follow these tips, or is there room for improvement? What errors do you notice? What has the student done well? Take a few notes. When you are ready to proceed, unpause the video, and we'll discuss what we notice about these examples. Here are a few errors from the previous example. First, there is a citation numbering issue. This is a really easy fix, so be sure to proofread your papers. Additionally, the second paragraph makes some repetitive statements. Cleaning these up will improve the flow of the introduction. The description of the experimental method used is a bit confusing and difficult to read. Following the advice from earlier, the student did present equations in this section. However, the student neglected to explain the equations. Remember that the introduction is all about providing context, and that means when you include equations, you must contextualize them as well. Finally, the scope and the purpose of the experiment are not clearly defined, and there is little connection to theory. Let's look at another example. This introduction is a much better example of what to do when you write this section. Here are some things the student did well. This student put the overall goal of the experiment in context. Important terminology such as brittle and ductile fracture are both defined and explained. The introduction is thoroughly connected to the theory, and there is sufficient background on the testing method used during the experiment. The citations in this introduction are incorporated and numbered appropriately. Additionally, the paragraphs are separated by topic. The student clearly explains what was tested, and the objective of the test is clearly stated. And finally, a clear figure was used to support the explanation. The figure was properly labeled, captioned, and cited. In this video, you learned some basic steps to write an effective introduction for a scientific paper. Here are some key points from this video. In the introduction section, be sure to provide context for the experiment. You should connect the experiment to theory, include information about the subject area and materials used, the design of the study, and any equations that will be used in the experiment. You should also clearly state the objective of the study and what exactly you are testing. Define the variables involved in the study. Be sure to provide basic information about the test methods that you are using in the experiment, and properly cite all references. Now that you have a clear understanding of how to write an effective introduction, let's move on to the results and discussion section, where we will present and interpret the findings of our experiment.